All right, welcome everybody to the RoMuscle Money Stop podcast. Um, we unfortunately had to leave the infield and get out of our motorhomes and come up to the press box at almost 10 o'clock at night, Daytona time, while all the other drivers are sleeping comfortably in their motorhomes, waiting for the race tomorrow. Unfortunately, we have these obligations, so we have to do it, and the show must go on. Um, So I guess we'll start by talking about the races that just wrapped up here not long ago. Um, I guess we can start with the duel race. Um, that was very interesting. We both participated in that. Um,
Very, yeah.
yeah, it was something. I know a lot of drivers were complaining about lag and um, I don't know that there's a lot to unpack with that race. I mean, like, what did you think about that,
Um, are we just talking about the lag overall?
or just like the whole race? Like, what was your like what are your opinions on the duel race?
I think for me mainly, it was just the lag. The lag was a big part of it. Like after a certain point, I know I didn't have any problems, but I know that a lot of other drivers had problems like throughout the race. It was a common issue all night. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it can be improved by tomorrow. I've heard that there's some stuff going on behind the scenes to, make sure that the racing is better tomorrow and performance is better. But um, I would say overall, in terms of the racing, I really enjoyed it. I think that was just the thing that deterred everybody the most was just the lag and um, just the way it turned out. But I think for the size of the field, it could have been a lot worse. And I'm glad we stayed with this version because I really like this version better than the other one. But
Yeah, I agree, and I think the new version of Daytona is really amazing, and it produces great racing. Um, and honestly, like with that many cars, we're probably gonna have lag issues no matter where we go. So we had great races in both of them tonight. I know you didn't see the truck race, but I mean this new Daytona is just amazing. Um, I mean there's you can make both lines work kind of. There's really crazy wrecks. Like we had people flip upside down in both of the races, I think. So
yeah,
I don't really know like what more you could ask for. I thought it was a solid event. Um, I I don't really know that it tells us a whole lot about tomorrow. There were certain cars that showed a lot of speed. I don't even. I'm trying to think of his car number. The 19 car, Wendigo. He led a bunch of laps in the truck and dual race. So I think he would be one to keep your eye on for tomorrow. I know we'll kind of get into our preview later on, but there's a few things I guess you can kind of take away from it. But overall, um, not much. And for the truck race, this is kind of an interesting thing. But I guess Lego said before the race he didn't realize that he hadn't even fully upgraded his car's max speed. So he had been on like 4 out of 5 this whole time. And then he upgraded it before the race tonight. And he proceeded to run amazing in the dual race. And then he won the truck race. So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, look out for that team this season because Lego's been running really good lately. And then you add on the fact that he just got more speed, that could really be deadly for that team, in my opinion.
yeah. I will say, Lego was very consistent tonight in being up front. And I think just like at test races that we've run, the Clash, he was good. Um, Really, just he's been there since the start of the changes to these cars and the changes to this game, really. And I'm really interested to see how this team is gonna bloom as the season progresses. Rondo was kind of all over the place tonight, but um, the team's got to find its footing somehow. and and here might not be the place for that, but they have a lot more opportunities for that as the season goes on. Um, but I really liked what I saw out of Lego tonight in both races. And I think he's really got a good season ahead of him. Um, and like you said, like just with the the upgrade, you could see how much the performance changed. Um, and I think that's going to make a huge difference for the rest of these races.
Yeah, talking about Rondo would be like I don't
I mean to
even
call him
know.
out. I mean to call him out,
I
but
don't even want
I
to.
just had to be
I don't
honest because
even want to get into that rabbit hole because Rondo won what he won the Geico Series championship, and ever since then, like I'm not trying to talk bad or anything because I love Rondo. He's really a great guy, but ever since then, it just seems like he can't be consistent. He can't find his consistency, and I really hope he figures it out because he really is an amazing person, and he's like I have nothing but good things to say about him, and I hope he figures it out. But ever since then, it just seems like he hasn't had any good moments, and it's just been really inconsistent. And I know a lot of that probably has to do with lag, but I really do hope Rondo figures everything out.
well, listen, and I know that this is probably more so outside of this racing league. He probably has a lot going on in real life, just like all of us. But I think that just probably his attendance, and then when he comes back, it's like it's just not enough time to practice in the cars as he'd probably like. So he comes back and he starts racing, and then it's like, whoa, it takes him the race to readjust to that. It could be that, or it's just attendance issues. There's a lot to it. I think with that team in particular. I'm a little worried just about like if the attendance is gonna persist over the season, what that'll mean for him. I don't know if he's in a contract year. I don't know if he signed a multi-season deal, but if he is in a contract year, I'd be really worried about that. Just from a team standpoint, I don't know what that team would have to do for him to be the driver come next season. But tonight it was definitely not a um it was not a good performance from the team just from a competitive perspective and also somebody on a podcast. It was not a good showing early on from the team, but like I said, he still got the rest of the season to show um what they're capable of, and it's too early to tell, but it's just something I pointed out. I'm not, like I said, I don't want to call anybody out. I'm not trying to call anybody out. I don't want to get myself in trouble or make any enemies because it is a podcast. It's important to remember, we have to express our thoughts somehow. um and if we're on the topic of the race, that is a topic along the race. So, we should have kind of free range to talk about what happened during the race. And just given that I was involved in a couple incidents with Rondo, and I know that he was all over the place, like I said tonight. I think it gives us the jurisdiction to talk about that. Because it was among one of the topics of tonight. But yeah, that's all I have to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, and even though I want to talk about him being inconsistent, he finished second tonight, so he's gonna start front row for the 500 tomorrow. So I mean, you can't really ask for any better than that. So um, I guess props to him for that, and hopefully that team has some success tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know if we had anything else to talk about with the races. I mean, obviously, Land won the duel, Lego won. Well, I guess we could kind of talk about this. Land did not lead a single lap um, in the duel race except for the final lap, and that team really seemed like they were struggling with lag. And I don't know if you saw the video of Land's in-car camera, but it was pretty rough from his perspective. So for him to come from last to first, I mean, I think that's really impressive.
Um, I mean, it seems like that team is doing it every race. They always come from the back. I don't know if they make the most work for themselves or if it's they they just get themselves into a position where um they get screwed somewhere along the race. But it seems like there's always a point in the race where they have to pick themselves back up again and then march to the front, whether it's to win the race or just to get a good finish. And it's unfortunate because it's like there's been races where he's dominated and lost. There's been races where he's dominated and won. Um, and the races where he's not led any laps like tonight and then had to pick his way up to the front, I think that, it just goes to show how much fight is in that team. But also it questions me on if they have to work on something. Um, because doing that almost every race or, every couple of races has to be frustrating. But yeah, um,
Yeah,
I can tell just from the live reaction I'm getting. I don't think there's a lot of fans of my voice right now, so I'm just gonna try and power through this episode and hope you guys enjoy and can listen until the end. Um my voice will be toast, but it'll be worth it. I haven't spoken like 3 days, so
Craig has said we love it. So there is some positive reinforcement coming in. We're glad that you guys get to be in the comfort of your homes while we have to be up in the press box at 11 o'clock at night, and wake up super early tomorrow for our sponsor obligations before the race, obviously. Um, so, anyways, moving on to our next topic. Um, so, the tracks that we visit this season, um, what tracks stand out to you, and what teams like do you see performing well at what types of tracks or any specific tracks? Do you have anything that stands out to you for that?
um I was trying to see if I could get the schedule displayed up on the
Yeah, the
screen, but
schedule.
um
I know
give me a
we have
second here.
Daytona this week. I think we go to Atlanta next week.
Yeah, so it's Daytona, Atlanta, Richmond, Coda, Miami, Darlington, and then the All Star race at North Wilkesboro, Kansas, Iowa, Walt Disney, Talladega, Washington Street Course, Chicagoland, and then Martinstown is the cutoff. Let me put the tracks up on the screen real quick. Because I want to talk about the first track that I'll highlight is this one. Um, I think Daytona is a really, really prime opportunity for a lot of teams to shine because a lot of teams are going to be working together come tomorrow. Um, and teamwork has never been more important this season, I think, than it is. Let me see. Now that I can get this up on the screen, there we go. But yeah, like I was saying, it's never been more important, I think. And just when it comes down to pit stops, drafting together, I think tomorrow is going to be crucial and more important than anything. Um, so I'm really looking for like those powerhouse teams to stand out. It really seemed like tonight that Chevy and Toyota were the front runners, and Ford kind of was like a sleeper, but I'm interested to see how that'll play out in a longer race tomorrow. Obviously, tonight was only a portion of that, so I'm curious to see. Um, do you have Daytona circled too, or did you have a different track instead?
Um, well, speaking on what you just said, I do think I don't know. It's tough because there was a Ford manufacturer vehicle leading in both of those races going into turn four. Well, I'm not sure when Taggart was leading. He was leading on the last lap, but regardless, there was a Ford leading on the last lap of both races. Um, but they just couldn't finish. They just couldn't finish it. Um, I guess it doesn't matter if you don't finish the race. I mean, we're not looking for last lap leading to the checkers. We're looking for leading the lap and getting the trophy. So I think Ford has a lot of speed. They're just going to have to work on finishing the races. We know that they know how to be there at the end of the race, but they need to keep their cars in one piece at the end of the race. And for me, I'm looking at this first stretch before the All Star race. I really think we'll know who the contenders are. I mean, you have a super speedway, an intermediate, a short track, and a road course. I think after the first 4 weeks, like we'll kind of know what teams are good and who's for real and who's not. But definitely by the All Star race, I think we should have a good idea of who the contenders are this season.
I disagree with that. Um, I think the second half of the season and all the way to the end is going to be really where we see who is at their game. Just I only say this because this season is a lot longer than we previously had, and usually how it is it's like there's always two there's always like a split in the middle, and there's um two parts. The first part is like, you have your early bloomers in the first couple races, and you get your first couple wins out of the way, and then like you start fading as the season goes, and then it's like by the playoffs, where did that go? Where did that consistency go that was there at the beginning? And there's the second half where there will be people that come out of nowhere and could either win like a cutoff race at Martinstown, say, or the first race in the playoffs to kick things off. And then next thing you know, they're consistent and they make the final four, win the championship. So I think it's like it's going to be really hard to tell. I think until we get to that point in the season where we um, will we'll really get to crunch time and we'll see who outperforms when it counts. And I will say it's probably going to be around Talladega. I would say like Talladega, maybe from there on. I would say like Chicagoland, maybe, but I would want to see who's still consistently showing up by then. I think that would be a really dead giveaway. But from there on, I think that's really prime time for who's gonna show up and who's really gonna be in contention for all those wins and for a shot at the championship.
Yeah, and I'll say that I think the super speedways are good at telling us who the best. I wouldn't say who the best team is, but maybe who's the best um, at working together as a team. But these other tracks are really going to tell us who the best individual teams are. Um, like for example, the 22 team or the 44 team or whatever. Because you're not really relying on your teammates. You're kind of running your own race and you're determining when to pit, when not to pit. I mean, at a super speedway, you're kind of organizing with your team and things like that. So you don't really control your own race, but at these other tracks, you do. So I don't really think this weekend's going to tell us a whole lot. So once we get out of Daytona and get to some of these other tracks, we'll really start to see what teams are the strongest, in my opinion.
I think it'll tell us who came prepared, who did their homework, who did their work over the off season. Um, I think that's what it'll tell us. If it tells us one thing,
Yeah. Are are there any drivers in particular that you're worried about attendance wise over the course of this long of a season?
uh, are we talking about like drivers that have advanced already, or just the
I
whole
mean, like,
field?
is there like anyone on the roster, like in particular, that you could point to and say, like, I'm kind of worried about that team's commitment or attendance, maybe?
I'll just go out of the way right now and say I would say myself, um, and partially only because, side note, I'm in college right now, so I'm transferring to a different college. Um, so it's like that transition process starts soon. So I don't know what my like availability would look like in a couple months time. So I would say like it might get a little gray, um, a little down the road, but yet again, like I said, I don't know what it's gonna look like. So I'm just kind of playing it by ear right now and seeing what's gonna happen. But that's like on the horizon, I would say. So I'm just enjoying it while I'm around right now. But um, for anybody else, I would say I'm probably looking at um, hmm, let's see. I would say Slater is probably one that I'm looking at, and uh, hmm, probably Slater, Icy, and Spencer Rattle. I don't know what the hell his real name is, but
That's Jax.
Jax. Okay, I don't know like what I should refer to him as. He should have his name in the Discord. Is that I hate saying Spencer Rattle, but um, yeah, Jax, Icy, and Slater are my main concerns. So I don't want to call out SSR here, but you know, just something to keep in mind, boss.
Man, I attended every race last season. I'm not on the hot seat. Um,
That's
okay.
good.
Anyway, yeah. Um, well, I guess that kind of brings us into our next segment. We could talk about the teams and what teams we think are going to perform. We only have three teams. Well, I guess four because Aiden's technically on his own team, but um, I mean, like, I guess just our outlook on what we think team performance is going to be. I don't know. I was gonna say like I think it'll be GFM versus SSR, but Lego has really shown a lot of speed, like in the duels and the truck race. So I don't know. Like it could be like anybody's season. I don't know that one team really has an advantage so far, in my opinion.
Well, the only thing I'll say about Lego's team is that are they only showing speed here? What is their speed going to translate to when we go to Atlanta next week? What is their speed going to translate to on a short track like Richmond? I think that's really going to be the big question. Like, so yeah, the a test will be put onto them tomorrow, but the real test will come when they hit an intermediate next weekend, when they hit a short track the next weekend, when they hit Coda in a few weeks. Just um, I wouldn't rule them out, but um, I still have some questions about that team and just what where they're going to be at other tracks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I mean, the teams with the least amount of question marks are GFM and SSR. Obviously, you have both of the former champions that currently race on those two teams. Um, are all of the drivers that made the championship four last season are on those two teams? Because it was me, you, Kragus, and Land. So I guess two of them are on SSR and two of them are on GFM. So I mean, I guess the most proven teams would be GFM and SSR. Um, I'm I don't really think that's super controversial to say.
No, no, it's
Uh,
not because GFM obviously is a powerhouse team. They've been a powerhouse team, and SSR is new, but we've got experience on our team. I think that's the upper hand. We're bringing experienced guys in, um, not only from this past season, but previous seasons and previous iterations of the league. So we've got a pretty good variety of drivers, I would say. So um, yeah, I still think we're kind of a sleeper team because I don't know what we're capable of yet. You know what I mean? Like we know
I
what we're
mean, yeah,
preparing for,
yeah,
but we don't know what that is going to translate to in terms of performance. So
yeah. I mean, we don't have any trophies on the shelf. We haven't done anything yet, so I would still say if there's a pecking order, GFM would come first. They have clearly shown dominance. They have 20. I guess if you include the duel, they have over 20 wins in this league's history. They've won championships. I mean, they've done everything. SSR hasn't really proven anything yet. Um, obviously, um, I I think that'll change this season, but as of right now, we haven't done anything, so there's nothing to show. And I guess you kind of put Aiden in with GFM. I don't really know if we need to talk about him, but I mean, I guess that's kind of a person I could see being a sleeper this season. I could really see him snapping off 2 or 3 wins potentially.
yeah, I would. There's a lot of guys um, to watch for. Um, I'm gonna be keeping my eye on this season. I won't. I'm not gonna give my my picks or whatever because anytime I feel like I give picks, I feel like if I'm wrong, they're gonna pick on me or they'll pick on you or it's just got to keep it in our heads because it's not worth the falling down for. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, there is some guys that I'm watching. That's all.
So, do you even want to? I know in our little memo we put playoff/championship picks. Do you want to skip over that, or
Um, we can still pick those. I feel like only because it's just our very like we're making Eric E step picks. Like it's like
yeah,
they're way too early. So um, I feel like we can't be clowned because it's way too damn early. So let's do it. What is it? 8 guys that make it in.
yeah? I think we have a round of 8 and then a round of 6.
Hmm.
I guess if okay, my round of 8 would probably be Aiden, Lego, Slater, Kragus. That's 4. Myself, Land. That's 6. CSP is 7. And then the 8th spot would be between Icy, Rondo, Wendigo. It would be between those three. Icy, Wendigo, and Rondo. And I would. This is tough. I think Icy's attendance is just a question mark to me. Like, I know if he was consistent, he would. Like, I would definitely put him in the playoffs. But with that being such an unknown, I don't know. I would probably pick Wendigo, I guess, as my 8th.
Yeah.
And
Um,
this is in no particular order, by the way. That's just my 8
oh yeah,
drivers.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I would have Rondo and Icy missing the field as the first two out.
Okay. Oh man. All right. I'm gonna go in no particular order either. I will say, um, Land, Laner, myself, uh, Wendigo, Kragus, uh, Slater, Lego at 7. I got one more. See, this is what's tricky. I'm between Icy and Rondo. They're both bad at attendance. I'm just gonna
I
be
don't think you
so
picked
blunt.
Aiden.
They're so bad at attendance. I'm like, I don't even know who to pick. But
I
I
don't
would
even think you said Aiden, did you?
um did I? No, I don't think I
I don't
did.
think so.
Aiden though, I would you say he's consistent enough?
Yeah, Aiden. I think Aiden showed up to like every race last season.
Okay. I'm truly asking that because I wasn't like keeping up with
Yeah, like he normally
people that
shows
were
up
at every
like
race.
every
Yeah.
week.
Okay. I'll do my top 8 over again just so I make sure. All right. Land, Laner, myself, Wendigo, Kragus, Slater, Aiden, and Lego. Those are my top 8. And the two
So we have
out,
the same.
yeah, the two out, I would say are going to be
It'd be Icy and Rhonda,
Wendigo and Aiden.
wouldn't it?
I have Wendigo and Aiden out only because, and this is what I'll say. Wendigo, I'm a little curious about. I want to see how that team is going to perform in their first season. I'm a little skeptical, um, just because a couple races that he was in last season, it didn't seem like he performed with that well. Like at Richmond, I think he was like a lap down or two. I don't know. That's all I remember though. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard.
It is really difficult. And also,
But
uh, I
like I said, like we can't be clowned for this because it is so early, and um, the field is so tight, and there's so many fast drivers this year, so it's so hard to pick 8 drivers. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
because it could really, really be anybody. It could really be anybody. But sorry, I'm just looking at the chat,
Um,
and all I saw was Wendigo say $1 million.
um, and the other tough thing about this is that like if you win a race, you're in the playoffs. So, I mean, I think there's like an attendance policy where like you have to attend a certain amount of races to qualify. Um, but if you look at someone like Icy or I don't know, I guess Icy's really the only one I could think of. Like he could seriously win any race that he shows up to.
Oh yeah,
So
for
like
sure.
that's what makes it so tough is like he could just show up and win a race and he's in the playoffs. So I don't know. It's like it's impossible to predict seriously. Um, I don't know if we wanted to go a step further and predict the round of 6 or if just leave it at the round of 8.
Um, I would say we could go to round of 6, but we're not doing
No
championship 4. It
further.
might get
No
too
further.
might get too controversial. But
Yeah, people are going to be pulling up. I swear, someone is going to pull up this stream later at the beginning of the playoffs.
for
I
real.
I know they will. I know they will.
And but we can revisit it too, you know? Like we can revisit it
Yeah.
when we are far down the road and well into the season. Um Okay, let me pull up my 8 again. We had
Yeah,
the same
I
8,
don't.
so
Yeah. So I guess my 6 would be, man, getting this deep in the playoffs is difficult because
well, just
Slater
just say who
probably
you
should have.
just say who you'd eliminate, like the 2 that you'd eliminate. You don't have to like say the 6. If
Okay,
that makes it
8.
easier.
The 2 I would eliminate. Oh man, this is tough. It really is. Well, I put Wendigo in my playoffs. Did I? I had you, no, you, Land, myself, Craigus, Slater, Aiden, Lego. Yeah, Wendigo was in mine. Um, it doesn't make sense though. Who else did I eliminate? There should be 3 people out, right? Rondo, Icy. I have no idea. I don't know who I'm leaving out.
I don't know. Thanks to
Um,
Roman, he
oh,
left it like way
Jax.
up in the chat. But
I totally forgot about him. Okay, yeah, I eliminated him. I didn't even talk about him. Okay, so my 2 I would eliminate. I would probably eliminate Wendigo and, oh gosh, the second, that's so difficult. I don't want to like upset anyone. I don't know, man. Like everybody's so close this season. Um,
like,
I guess I
but
would
like we said,
eliminate.
it's only a way too early prediction. You know, obviously, if we're not predicting that they're gonna make it, they're gonna be mad. They're gonna be pressed. They're gonna be hardballed. But get the fuck over it. You know. So
I mean, yeah, I could also use it as motivation, I guess.
for real, don't like turn that
Uh,
frown upside down, motherfucker.
okay, I would eliminate Wendigo and I guess maybe I don't know. I guess maybe Slater, just because I don't know. Like last season, he got eliminated in the first round due to attendance. And whenever you get late in the playoffs like that, you really have to attend every single race. So for me, like Aiden and Lego and all of these other guys, I am not worried about them missing a race at all. I'm like, that is not a question in my mind. But I don't know. Like you have to be on top of your game. So I guess that would be my pick.
Well,
Is I would say Slater and Wendigo out.
we have the same exact picks too. Like that's crazy. Um, I would say my 2, and this is probably gonna shock a lot of people, but I would say probably Lego and Aiden. Um, here's my thing about Lego, and I talked about it a little in the first episode or the second episode. I don't know if it's like under pressure or if it's um when it comes like performance time, like when they have to come out and perform. Lego, I don't think like he just I don't know if that team can come up and rise to the top at the right time. And this is the perfect season to um, crown on that opportunity with the new team and just new opportunities. But I'm still riding off of last season. I don't know like what the hell I'm gonna see out of that team. Um, and with Aiden too, I know how consistent they are, but if that consistency can translate into wins, um, and if that consistency can translate into keeping the car straight and keeping it into keeping giving it good finishes, I will say that. And looking at the playoff tracks for this season, I don't know if it fits these 2. Um, but we'll have to see. I know that the second round is um it could play in their strengths, but that first round is more of a wild card round. Um, let me let me pull it up real quick. I'm not gonna pull it up on the stream, but
It's Nashville, Charlotte, and Canada Oval is the cutoff.
Yeah. And Nashville, we didn't even race there last season, I don't believe. So
No,
it's
no,
been
we
a full
didn't.
season since we've been there. It's going to be new cars. It'll be a new environment to open up the
Yeah,
playoffs. Charlotte, longest race we have. Anything can happen, as we know. And then the Canada Oval. We have not raced there in a hot minute, so that race can really prove anything. And I don't know if I like these two drivers in new opportunities like that. Like in tracks where I don't really know if they're going to perform. Um, but we'll have to see. I know that Lego's performances, like statistically, have not been that good on intermediates. He tends to shine more at the super speedways, which is why I look at him tomorrow. Um, so that's what worries me a little bit. If we're looking at stuff like statistically, um, and then Aiden, I don't know, man. I really don't know. Just overall, we'll have to see. I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna get into it though. But oh
the
man.
producer in the back is
Mm-hmm.
cutting him off. He said, you can't keep talking." Um,
Nah, I can't let
but
him know. I can't let him know.
I mean, the Charlotte could also be a make or break race for some of the favorites too, because it has 3 stages. So if we have a driver like, I don't know, me or you or Land or Craigus or some of the people that you would consider, I don't know, quote unquote favorites, um, and we get in a wreck or we just have a bad race, I don't know, the car's just not performing, you're missing out on a lot of stage points.
Yeah.
And also, the stage points are restructured this season. Last season, it was like 5 points for the stage winner, 4 for second, third, etc. But this season, it's 10 for the stage winner, 8 for second, 6 for third, 4 for fourth, and then 2 for fifth. So I feel like stage points are going to matter a lot more this season. Um, so if you miss out on stage points in that race, with it having 3 stages, you could really, really put yourself in a hole in the playoffs. So I don't know. That's something to keep an eye on as well.
Yeah, definitely. And if those two can make it through that three those three races and not have any issues, or they win a race and get through the next round, they could have the best three races in that round too. I think anybody on that list that we put through could have a great three races in that round too. But
Yeah.
it's just all up to the teams and all up to the drivers and how the races will play out. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to Pocono. I feel like that's been a really underrated track for road car, but it has. I don't think we've ever really had a bad race there. Like that's consistently been one of the better tracks, and I'm really excited to see that in a playoff race. And Las Vegas is kind of just like, whatever. But Pocono and Milwaukee, those are two great venues. So I'm excited to see um, what those tracks will look like, especially Pocono being with the added pressure of the playoffs. I feel like the racing will only be better than what it has been in the past.
Agreed. Yeah. Um, Pocono is like so hard to describe. For anybody that hasn't raced on it, it's just it's like three corners from hell. Um, is the best way to describe it because it doesn't feel like Pocono. It's like turn one is it's like you're climbing up this huge hill and then you just go down and you're going around and around and around. And then like turn two, it's just like you're hitting it so fast. It's like turn two's over by the time you realize it. And then by the time you get to turn three, it's like you're trying to stay so freaking close to that apron without getting spun out. Then it's like, what the hell? And then you're back at the start finish line. So it's just, and then the draft is so long down the front straight. Um, it's really a fun race, but it's just like those three corners, man, they kill you every time. So I'm very excited to get back there and see how these cars handle now when we get back there.
Yeah, by the time you get to turn 3, you're looking for turn 4, and then by the time you realize there's not a turn 4, you've already passed the start finish line.
Right.
It happens every single time. It's the most confusing thing ever, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, so championship at Texas. I think Texas is a good venue. I don't.
Can
I
can
mean,
we talk about that for a second? Because I want to know what's going on with the multi groove stuff. Um, is that still like happening, or is that like is it like in the works? Is it going to be done by the end of the season? Is that going to be like the only track where we have multi groove stuff going on?
no. There's. It's. We have been adding the quote unquote sticky stuff to all of the intermediates. It definitely won't be done in time for Atlanta, but it should be done at some point this season. And IC has been working on that a lot, and that is definitely higher on our priority list, along with fixing some of the lag issues, especially after what we saw tonight with a lot of vision lag stuff. I would say those are like the two top priorities: is getting multi-groove racing and doing some lag fixes to the cars. That's our top two priorities with the game right now.
Do you think with like the multi groove stuff, are you guys focusing more on intermediates? Like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah, definitely.
let me rephrase that because that was kind of a stupid ass question. But um, are you guys focusing more like on the bigger oval tracks, or are you guys focusing on more like intermediates, like kind of cookie cutter intermediate tracks?
Well, I would say any track that you. Well, let me not say that. Um, all the mile and a halves will have it, like Atlanta, Homestead, Kansas, Texas, um, all those, Las Vegas, like all the traditional intermediates. And then some of the bigger tracks like Auto Club in Michigan would also have it. Um, because I mean, I just think it would be awesome to have multi-groove Auto Club or Michigan, even though it's not really realistic, but whatever. Um, not really looking at it for the shorter tracks because I feel like our short track racing has honestly been good, and I feel like it gets so spread out that you can kind of run whatever line you want. So we're not really worried about that, and obviously the road courses don't need that. So yeah, it'll mostly be intermediates and some of your like bigger ovals that um, aren't super speedways.
Gotcha.
You could even look at a track like the Canada Oval, maybe, to get something like that. I mean, I feel like that could improve the racing there, even. So there's a lot of
Um,
options.
do you think like when do you think is the first time we'll see it? Like that we'll be racing in it at least.
That is a tough question. If I were to put a time on it, I would say Kansas would be a good prediction after the All Star break. That's week 7, so that's about like what, a month or two from now.
Hmm,
I would say Kansas would be a good prediction,
gotcha. I was just curious because I wasn't sure.
but
Like
it could
it's kind of went quiet on that.
obviously
So
be sooner. But yeah, it's definitely still in the works. We just haven't really had many updates on it.
all right, cool.
Okay, well, I guess now all we have to talk about is the race tomorrow, um, our expectations, predictions, all that good stuff. So the race will be, let's pull this up. Okay, so the pre-race will be at 6:30 Eastern time. Driver intros will be at 6:40. The flyover and the national anthem will be at 6:50, and the green flag will be at 7 o'clock. So it this is going to be a really interesting race. With 11 cars, it looks like this will be the biggest field in the history of any road car racing league, and it's for the biggest race of the season. So I don't even know. Like I I think I don't know. Like do you think it's gonna be a wreck fest? Like, or I don't know. Like, what do you expect?
Um, Here's what I'll say. I think it's gonna be a wreck fest no matter what. No matter how many cars we have, just because that is the nature of this event. Everybody wants to win this event. And just the stakes of the season, I think everybody wants to get that first win out of the way. Um, nobody has a better chance than tomorrow to win. Everybody's chances are equal right now. I think the odds could fall in other teams' favor, in your opinion, but I think it's anybody's game tomorrow. And I think that it yeah, it will be a wreck fest, but we have to power through it and just get to the end. It'll be like another race like that, but hopefully we'll be able to enjoy it. I'm certainly looking forward to it just because this is the first time that like we've had a longer race like this, and well, not a longer race, but a bigger field, and it'll feel like a longer race just because um, there'll probably be a lot going on, a lot of moves, a lot of passes, just a lot going on. I'll leave it at that.
And yeah, I mean, 80 laps at Daytona is that's a pretty long race. To put it into perspective, the real life Daytona 500 is 200 laps. So, I mean, you're damn near doing 50% of the Daytona 500 at this event.
And I
Um,
wasn't I wasn't here at the first um, version of this race, but was it at the same track or was it at a different version?
no, it was at like the old. You remember, like in row car, we had the one with the ramps.
It was that one. Okay.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, this is first first race on this. Well, I guess we had the duel, but this will be like our first points race on this version. So, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of intriguing aspects to this race. And I mean, 80 laps, this race might take us 2.5, 3 hours,
Oh yeah, for
depending
sure.
on the cautions and everything. So, I hope everybody has put aside any plans they have tomorrow, because if you plan on entering this race, you probably will not have time to do anything tomorrow afternoon or evening. So I would definitely plan for that. Otherwise, you'll probably be leaving midway through the race.
Yeah, really.
Um, but in terms of the racing, I mean, it seems like in the duel, it was kind of just normal super speedway racing. It was single file. You could make the outside work for a little bit, but it's not really like a viable option. And from my perspective, at least, you can make it work for a few laps, maybe get side by side with the leader, but I don't know if I would be up in the top lane like 10 or 15 laps. I think all the drivers are just trying to get to the bottom as soon as possible.
Yeah. I would certainly like to see a formation of a second line. Um, it seemed a little bit like it was working for a little bit tonight, but just with the lag, it did not help. Um, and the runs were so huge. Like I think my car was going like 220 at some point. So um,
Gosh.
yeah, so I think just it comes down to just timing passes, timing the runs, knowing when to block, and if there's enough of a stability to run a second lane. If there's a car up there that shouldn't be in the second lane, don't be in the second lane. Go on the bottom. Um, if you're too damn loose, don't be on the top. We don't want you up there. But um, I think everybody's going to be hugging for the bottom tomorrow. The bottom will be your best friend. Um, but I'm excited to see who will jump up there and try and start something.
Yeah. How about this? Over or under two conflicts being started at the race tomorrow? Like, do you think we'll have more than two feuds going into Atlanta or less than two feuds going into Atlanta?
With different drivers, or is it like one driver with
Like,
two different drivers?
no, yeah, like just overall, like it can be any, like the same driver or not.
Oh, over. Easy. Do you know this is RoMuscle?
Yeah.
It's
And
so
it's
easy
the
to predict.
500.
It's so easy to predict.
So I guess I don't really know how to preview how this race is going to go. I mean, everybody knows it's just going to be a wreck fest. Um, we will have some cars that survive to the end, and whoever's in front at the end and does not get spun by the person behind them will win the race. I guess we could kind of predict like who like ones to watch out for. Um, maybe we could each give like stage predictions and our race winner prediction.
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay. Um, I'm keeping my eye on the 27 of Lego. Um, I feel really good about that team and the speed that they showed tonight. Um, and they're definitely going to be a contender tomorrow. I'm also looking at Wendigo. Wendigo ran a really, really good race tonight, and um, he also, I think he was in the truck race, right?
Yeah, he was. He led a lot of laps on that one too.
Yeah. So he looked very strong tonight in both runnings. Um, so I'm looking at him to really have a strong performance tomorrow and really be up front towards the end. Um, I really liked where our car was at too, and where your car was at. Um, I think definitely all three teams really, really will have their front runners tomorrow. It just comes down to if those front runners can capitalize or if somebody behind them is going to come out of nowhere, like a land or you know, like somebody else that can steal the show away. Um, I don't know. Should I do like my top three, or like do you want me to just say the winner? I have a predicted winner.
I mean, top three. Yeah, maybe just like top three, like ones to watch out. I guess, yeah, if you just give like three people that you're looking out for, maybe, and then a race winner prediction.
Well, those are my
Because
top
I don't
three.
really know. Okay, so Wendigo, Lego, and um, who else? I guess.
You. It'd be
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
Lego,
okay.
Wendigo. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess just you could just give a prediction for who you think's gonna win.
Um. Honestly, my prediction is probably gonna be Lego. I think just like Lego, he's got the dog in him for this race. I think he's ready. Um, I think the time has never been more uh prime than now to do it, and I think tomorrow's his day. Um, so we'll have to see, but I think it's gonna be close. I think it's anybody's game, so we'll see. Laner, what about you?
Okay. My top three. Oh, I want to put Land in my top three, but it's really tough with his lag issues. But oh man, it's really hard to leave him out because even with his lag, he still finds a way to the front.
That's mainly why
Um,
I left him out. I don't know. Uh, I don't know what's gonna happen, but it seems like either the lag or a crash always will involve him. So
Yeah, it's tough though, because even with the lag, like he always finds his way up there. So it's like, I don't know. Um, yeah, I don't know. He was really struggling with 10 cars. So if we have 11 people tomorrow, it's gonna be difficult. So I'll err on the side of caution. And by no means am I saying that Land's not going to be a contender because I still think he could go win the race. Um, I guess I would put maybe Craigus. He normally performs well on super speedways, and I don't think we've talked about him um, in our preview at all. I'd say Craigus, Lego, and maybe Slater. Slater's really good at these types of tracks.
yeah,
Um,
Slater's a good
and
pick.
that's one from each manufacturer. Um, so yeah, and I don't know, I lost my train of thought. And during the duel race tonight, I was gonna say um, that the Fords were running up front towards the end because you were leading the race, and I was in like I don't know, like third or fourth. I don't know where Slater was at, but I got in a wreck and I got sent all the way to the back. I didn't even try to get back after that. Then you got in a wreck. I think Slater finished second still. I'm not sure,
Yeah, I'd have to look back at the
but
stream. Not sure.
yeah, I think I don't know, the Ford should perform decent tomorrow. So, and okay, I need to make a prediction for the race winner. I would say I don't know. This is tough. I would say probably Slater, I guess.
Okay, it's a good pick.
Although it's really going to be anybody's race. Um, I don't know. It's going to be it's unpredictable. It could literally be anybody. You could start last on an overtime restart and still win the race. So
Mm-hmm.
you're just throwing darts at a board trying to pick this.
Yep. I will say one more thing before we wrap up, if I may. I don't know what the hell happened with the broadcast tonight, but I really, really hope that the broadcast will improve this season. And just the overall experience with the broadcast. I was really disappointed to hear some of the things that I heard, like, and at some point I had to tune it out because I was getting distracted while I was driving, and then I heard some things in the truck race too that made me like turn my head a little bit. And just I hope that the broadcast is a little bit better, and I hope that um, maybe the broadcasters can help with officiating a bit. Not with like calling cautions, but if there's a wreck in turn three, call it like you like say that there's a wreck in turn three or something. Not just oh they're crashing or oh they're
Yeah.
wrecking. Oh he crashed into him. Like help him out a little bit. So just some things that have been going on for a little while now and can easily be fixed, but I don't know if anybody's making the effort to fix them. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to add that.
Also, this might open up a can of worms, but and I know you weren't at the truck race, but I was like hosting the event tonight, so I'm gonna um I'm gonna sit on my soapbox. I feel like we need to keep beef off of the track. It has no room to be on the racetrack. And I don't care if drivers want to plead their case and say I didn't do this, whatever. It was obvious. I'm not gonna call names. I saw you do it. You know what you did. Like this is for the whole league. Like we don't need to be bringing beef onto the racetrack. Like if you have a problem with somebody, go into their DMs and fix it. But you don't need to be running people up the racetrack or wrecking them or like literally altering races just because you have a feud with somebody. And this has been a problem for a long time too. It's not like this just happened, and I'm not calling this person out because this isn't the first person to do it. Like this has always been an issue. And I know things get emotional when you're in the race car. I know it's just a game, but like trust me, I know I've gotten really pissed off playing this game um as well. Like I understand, but like we all need to do a better job of keeping that stuff off of the racetrack because it really has no place in my opinion. Like we're all just here to have fun. Like we're not I don't know, like we don't need to be wrecking each other. Like it it does not need to come to that in my opinion.
Yeah, but we can save this topic for another episode.
Yes, because this that is going to add another 30 minutes to
Oh yeah.
our podcast. I
Oh yeah.
just want to I just want to make a personal announcement because I saw this first it happened several times tonight. Like and I'm mainly saying this so people hear this before tomorrow. Like just we don't need to be doing all that. Okay? Like we seriously don't, especially tomorrow when there's not a dedicated official that can be watching over this stuff. Like it was easy for me to do it because I was watching the race and I could clearly see this stuff happening, but like tomorrow it's going to be the wild wild west because literally nobody's enforcing this shit. So I don't know. I mean, do what you want, but if you do it to someone else, expect it in return.
Yeah, we could have thrown that in there when we were talking about the preview of the race, but I forgot about that there is not going to be an official watching over. So it's going to be like hell is
Yeah,
going to break loose.
especially with 11 cars. I mean, it's going to be I don't know. And honestly, like it's to the point where I know I'm getting into this rabbit hole, but drivers are going to have to start self-policing. Like if you do something to someone, there's not an official watching over that's going to enforce it. So the only way for that to be enforced is for that driver to go do the same thing back to you. Like it's self-policing out there. If you do something to someone, expect it back. And you can't get mad when they do it back because you just did it to them. So I would be very careful about how you race people this season because I'm like I said, it if you do it to them, expect it back. Like it's just gonna happen.
Yeah, and me personally, I'm done expecting apologies from people. When I get wrecked, I'm like, dude, we got 30 laps to go. Why are you apologizing for something that happened 30 laps before the race is over? Like, that's why, like, when people apologize to me, I'm like, for what? Because it's like the race isn't over. Like, just run your damn race, you know? Just finish the race. And at that point, it's like, why even apologize? You know? Because you can pick your way back up in 3 minutes or less, you know? Like, the next restart, um, you can pick your way back up. So what's the point of apologizing? Everybody's saying sorry to each other. What's the point? Just pick yourself back up and run your fucking race. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I mean, like you don't hear NASCAR drivers apologizing to each other and
right.
uh,
Exactly my point. Just stop
um
apologizing and run your damn race. It's not that hard.
well also if you're a person that has to apologize more than once during a race, you know, it's probably maybe we should have some self-reflection
Yeah.
and maybe you should start thinking about the way you're racing because clearly it's becoming a common trend and I'm not calling anybody in particular out. I'm just saying like I mean, there's only so many times you can be sorry about something before it starts becoming a trend.
I mean, here's my thing though. If you know that it was intentional on your end and you want to apologize, that's your choice. But if it's something where like you got turned or whatever, or like the run was too big and you got pushed into somebody, don't freaking apologize. It was a racing incident. But I'm not going to get into it because that's a whole different episode. You guys will have to tune in for that.
Yeah,
that
and
that
also
that has to be a topic on our next episode because
yeah, yeah,
a
and we're
lot of
not
people
calling
are
out
going to tune
names
in for that.
either.
Yeah.
Not calling out any names. If you know, you know. We all know the people that do this stuff. I'm not calling out names. I mean, we've all had incidents. Like nobody's perfect. It's row racing. I mean, stuff happens. Um, I get it. So just like I said, be careful. Especially tomorrow. Like if you go out there intentionally wrecking someone, expect it to happen to you back. So I'm just saying that as a disclaimer to the whole field. I'm not saying that for me personally, because I'm sure every driver would tell you the same thing. Just be careful out there. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. Damn, it's past midnight on the East Coast here. It's 500 day.
I know it's race day.
Mm-hmm. And it is. Somebody's gonna win this trophy in between us here too.
Well, I mean, I think we covered everything really.
Yeah,
Um,
I think we did.
we're gonna have to take the long hike down this elevator and find our way back to the infield. Um,
God, I'm dreading it.
which,
I'm gonna make a stop to like the Quick Check or frickin' Circle K or whatever they got around here.
yeah, I don't even know, man. I just flew in. So,
Yeah,
all right.
I don't know, but we got a race tomorrow. That's what we do know.
Yeah, better you ready or not, it's coming, man. You better be ready.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Um hopefully everybody sleeps good tonight because we have quite the event for tomorrow. And obviously, we will be on soon to discuss all of the, I'm sure, topics that will come up during the race tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. But for now, that'll be it from us. So thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you next time.